common headline these days is one that might say social media causes depression, or links to time on media causes depression in teens. In the video by Hank Green, he looks at the data to see is depression really caused by social media? And he goes to a rather large study that was done in 2017, and the data shows that there was a connection between social media use and depression in teens. This data had a p-value of 0.001, which is statistically significant. But because something's statistically significant does not mean that it necessarily shows that it causes something. In order to look at cause, we'd have to delve in a little bit deeper and find out more information. You could also run a correlation coefficient, and he did this, and the coefficient came out to 0.05, which is weak, which shows there was a very weak relationship between social media use and depression. And another thing that you might need to look at is the survey. How was the survey administered, and how many questions? This was one question on a survey that had hundreds of questions. And so if you had a 1 in 1,000 odds of coming up with a wrong answer, the more questions you ask, the more likely you are to get at least one false positive in that survey. So he suggests that that's also another possibility. Also, with extremely large sample sizes, this sample size was 500,000 plus teenagers, you can find significant differences that don't really make cause and, or don't really relate or show cause and effect. So another follow-up study that was done in 2019 linked depression with children who wear eyeglasses and also those that eat potatoes. So do wearing eyeglasses or eating potatoes cause depression? Well, we can't say that that's the cause of depression. We can just say that there's a connection between those things. So in order to have cause, we have to have more information, and we'd have to look and make sure that there's no confounding variables in the situation. So the other factor that you need to look at is, do teens who have depression turn to social media? Do they try to use social media in place of as a coping mechanism for depression? So is actually the depression the cause, and higher uses of social media is actually the effect? It's hard to tell. He makes an interesting fact. Whenever you see a headline or you read a headline that says that one thing causes another, and that there was a survey or information gathered about that, the important part is to be able to read or understand that information, to understand what the difference between statistically significant is and significance in the real world. So I've always believed that I need to limit my kids' screen times. Am I right? Do I need to limit their screen times because they have a chance of becoming depressed from using social media? Or do I just need to keep my kids from becoming depressed so they don't use more social media? That's a question that I don't have the answer to, and I think it might be difficult to actually show the cause and effect of social media in just a simple survey. You would have to get specific, get more information, and enable to test a hypothesis that social media does cause depression or contributes to higher rates of depression. This video opened my eyes to understanding more about cause and effect, and not to just read the headlines, but to recognize that you've got to go in and understand the data and understand how it's processed. The data can all be manipulated in different ways to produce different results. And so if you don't understand that and you just read a headline and somebody says this survey says this, you may not be getting the actual cause and effect in the relationship. So I thought this was a great video and a great lesson in cause and effect in statistics.